Hey everybody. I know it's been a while. We haven't really had any major topics. I know there's stuff going on right now in certain communities and certain announcements, but as far as we know, we kind of get out of the loop of it because one of us isn't always on Twitter, and the other one that is doesn't really doesn't follow any big news outlets. Picks usually I get my sources from just like picking it up, but I don't really follow like IGN or Kotaku and stuff like or any like gaming news outlet from Twitter because it's no point. There's no real like you kind of get something just from the headline. So this episode is going to be very, you know, off the rail, and I by that I mean like we don't have any real major topics we're gonna dissect into. Um, so for now, we're just gonna start off with, as usual, I'm your host, Ed Tama23.
And I'm a mug, having the damnedest of times adjusting to digital art.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
We were having a discussion earlier about. He Mug asked me what tablet does my wife use for she's a digital artist, and she uses Clip Studio Paint, and she uses an iPad with an Apple Pencil, and all that seems a little too fancy whatever, but in retrospect, it kind of works for her in the sense that the pressure sensitivity from the Apple Pen, and just because we had the tablet, it was already given to us as a gift. So we worked with what we got, and it's the downside of it is Clip Studio Paints. Even if you bought the physical, even if you bought the official version on the website, if you use the tablet version, you have to. It's a monthly subscription, which it's not too much, but unless you know how to get around it, like Mug, it's if you don't have the $8 to spare, then it's just kind of a headache. But since we did have it at the time, it's pretty neat. I see she's actually been drawing a lot more on the iPad than she has on her, drawing tablet at home on her desktop.
I was able to get by it, but the only reason why I was able to get by it is because they have something called Easy Canvas to where you can turn your iPad into a second screen. And so I just been drawing on Clip Studio Paint on the PC while essentially I turned my iPad into like a mini Cintiq. The only thing is I don't have an Apple Pencil, but shoot, I'm making something work.
Yeah,
Hey, because I'm gonna show you something when this whole thing is over, so I can get an opinion because it just feels weird because I'm so used to paper and whatnot.
yeah. Speaking, that's actually kind of funny how we're all kind of being a little productive, working on projects. Mug's working on something. I actually made a track. I actually made a little song using a little bit of samples using FL Studio, but I took a audio clip from Tales of Symphonia, and I didn't splice it up. I didn't remix it or nothing. I just kind of gave it like, you know, I wanted to make this like I wanted to drop a album, a little small album. That'll probably in the future I'll leave download links in one episode. But I want to make a little album using different audio clips from Tales of, and I kind of want it to be like not like kind of a jab at those YouTube channels, those 24/7 beats to study and lo-fi beats to chill and study, relax to, but make it with using Tales of
You
stuff.
know, the same one that repeats itself every 2 hours.
Yeah, but for me, it's just gonna be a small little album, maybe like 5 songs. My wife's working on the artwork for it. Um, but I'm trying to I can't send it to people on Twitter because I don't want to upload it officially yet because I want to have like a whole album done. But the people I do want to show it to, they're not usually active on Discord, so I don't really send it to them. But Mug, I might send you it and get an honest opinion of that. But no, yeah, we're all working on various projects. Some are I'm kind of keeping on the down low for now. I mean, I've mentioned if you listen to our other podcast, you kind of can get an idea of what we're working on. But no, we're just again using a lot of downtime we have to work on stuff. We're still doing the podcast. I'm actually surprised you know we hunkered down today to just record an episode, and I got a trip I got to go tomorrow.
I don't know is why, yeah, that and Memorial Day, and I'm not gonna be here. So I was like, we gotta get it done today,
Yeah,
because I know we
but
ain't gonna
hey,
be here the usual time.
that's a good it's a good thing to do. You know, anybody out there, if you're feeling like you can't do something, even if you just try and poke at it, even if you don't get something done, at least attempting to try it is a lot. It gets you a lot farther. Like I made that one song. I only made it in a couple of hours, and I'm like those people. I understand how some artists, when they listen or look at their drawing and they look at it and people say, "Oh, it's great," and then the person that drew it or created it, it's like it's not that great. You start looking at all the flaws. I can't listen to the song over. You know, I listen to it and I'm like, I like it, but at the same time, I'm like, there's stuff I could have added to it. But if I do that, then I wouldn't continue. So, yeah, just tackle it. Just tackle it once. You know, just a song you made, just make it, and don't try listening to it over and over again. You know, if you were happy with it the first time, just put it out there and get that motivation. You know, it's more to break away the blockage of procrastination. You know, that's my little advice for today. Just try to get something done, and even if it sucks, when the next time you look at it, at least you could say you did it. You know.
Yep.
But anything you want to add on your endeavors?
Man, what can I even say? That it's like there has been some stuff that I've been paying attention to, but at the same time, eh, so much been going on. I mean, good news is that my 14-day quarantine is over.
Oh,
So pretty much outside of me going to places that have mask guidelines, I can just it's just whatever.
yeah. Here in our little state, uh, it's fully 100% open. Certain places still have the mask policy, but recently, this is not to get anything like heavy-handed or anything, but recently, the CDC announced that if you're fully vaccinated, you can actually go out and not every there are certain places like very cramped and small venues where you still probably have to wear a mask, but majority of the time if you're indoors somewhere like a mall or something, or if you go to the park, you don't have to wear your mask. There's it's again, some states still have mandatory um, mask mandates, but the CDC recently announced that you don't have to wear a mask. Like it's not highly recommended as it was a few months ago. If it's only if you're fully vaxxed, though.
Yeah,
I know a lot.
I am. So it's like
Yeah,
so my thing is it's like I don't have to worry about the damage anymore. It's whatever. I can finally get out of the cabin and shit.
yeah. And I know a lot of people. I know that was the thing. I was trying to look for topics, but a lot of people when that was announced, this was announced a few weeks ago, a little bit in the beginning of May, and a lot of people are freaking out, like, "Oh, what if somebody isn't vaccinated but is not wearing a mask?" And it's just like, then if you do, are you that scared? Yes, then wear a mask. But I'm fully vaxxed. Then you don't have. What are you worried about? What about
I mean,
somebody
the
else?
worst you get is a cold.
It's like
I mean, you're not gonna get the permanent lung damage, so I'm not getting what you're afraid
because
of.
I understand like, oh, what about somebody else? And it's like, unless that person is your family member, and again, if the family member is immune compromised and is going out, uh, that
Or you got like a really bad immune system. you got something to worry about. But if it ain't that, then
But I mean, if you have a compromised immune system, and if you're not wearing a mask, or if you're going to a heavily like populated area, I mean, not to get not to be rude, but that's I mean, I know like maybe what if they don't have a choice, but again, that's all like we'd be back and forth on what ifs, and it's just like again, you just take the necessary precautions. If you're not vaxxed, you know, take the precautions that are recommended towards you, and if you are vaxxed, again, you have a little bit more freedom, but again, just be cautious of where you're at. You never know, because again, you can still get a cold or flu, and that can make you just. But whatever, just just letting people out there
I'm just
know the
happy that
context.
I don't have to be in the cabin anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean I've been a lot. It's been a lot easier on us because I can go out and I'm not going out and partying. I'm just going out to like visit, see some friends or at their house, and there's like, but I don't have to, you know, nobody's like really worried about like, oh,
Because the only time I'm worried about that is because like about to go see grandma this week, and that's the only time I'm worried because you know it's not good towards elders and whatnot. It's like
yeah, and everybody is affected differently, and that's we should start moving on. So I think the only thing, couple of video game announcements. Recently, Sega has announced that they're going to release a PS4. I'm not sure of an Xbox One version, but a would be technically a previous gen, the PS4 and Xbox One. Um, Virtual Fighter 5 is getting a that console generation release. I don't know if it's going to have a PS5 version, and I would assume that it would just be a PS4 version. If you bought it the PS4, you can play on the PS5. So that's why it's not technically a PS next gen. It's just current. Oh, current gen. Sorry, my mistake. So current gen releases of Virtual Fighter 5 is coming in June of this year.
Brandon, give me the card.
I gave her the card.
Oh, and the pizza in there.
Alright, did you hear my dad just now?
Yeah, I caught him a little bit, but it's all right. Uh, just so yes, just to recap again, we're not really gonna edit this because there's no point. Uh, Virtual Fighter 5 getting a re-release on current gen consoles, and I quite frankly am excited because as a the only way to really play Virtual Fighter 5 on current gen consoles is to play it on Judgment, the Yakuza Like a Dragon spin-off game made by the same people that made Yakuza.
Oh yeah, because of six.
Yeah, oh yeah, well I haven't played honestly, I haven't actually played 6. I know my wife did, but Kiwami 2 is a way you can play Virtual Fighter 2, which is the remastered of Virtual Fighter 2. Oh, I know why, cuz that game takes place in the year 2004. Virtual Fighter 5 didn't came out around that time, blah blah blah. Anyway, but yeah, you
Well,
can
that and it's a mod for you to get it on and whatnot.
Anyway, but yeah, the only way to play Virtual Fighter 5 officially is to play it through Judgment or Yakuza 6. But now that it's getting a re-release, I know some people are going to be like, "Well, what about rollback?" I mean, I've saw that was honestly that was my whole timeline um because one guy was talking about like, "Oh, I'm excited, but not too sure
Who
about." They didn't
cares about
mention,
the rollback?
a lot of people. They just it's very important.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk to people, that's your problem. But I just want to play the game.
Yes, because let's be real here. For anybody like, oh, but I want to play it online without shitty connections. It's like, then play with some friends. Well, my friends are online. Do you have an Ethernet cable? I mean, like, people always make that. You know, I get. I know that probably seems like a bad take, but again, if the rollback's the only thing keeping you from buying the game, then I got nothing to say to you. Like, I'm somebody who wants to keep this franchise alive. I'm gonna buy it. It's Sega. I
Yeah,
don't.
and I want to talk to people in front of their faces, not
Yeah,
over a screen.
I can't because Mug's more again, but even me when I would go to conventions, and now that Corona is starting to dwindle, a lot of places are reopening, and again there are safety measures for any pessimist that thinks, oh, what about? It's like as long as everybody's taking precautions, I could care less. But a convention's opening up, and I want to be able to play those games with people, and I want you, Virtual Fighter, the Virtual Fighter series to continue. This is as close as we get to something new, and who knows? Maybe if the success of it, they could start development on a new one. It may not be exactly what we want. If Virtual Fighter 6 is not exactly what we want, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But that's why these games have to do well. And I'm not trying to. I don't really shill for games. I don't really like go out of my way. But out of the few games that I do, this is one of them. Same thing with another game.
Yeah.
We'll go back to it in a bit. But Ninja Gaiden is also supposedly getting the trilogy getting released. That's Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know if one is uh black, or I don't know what's the specific.
1 and 2 are Sigma 1 and 2, and then 3 is Razor's Edge.
Okay, so yeah, just the next gen consoles. I don't know about. There's no word on Ninja Gaiden Black, the original Xbox series. I know that's just Ninja Gaiden Sigma, but revamped. But I know there's some people out there that would rather prefer Black. But take what you can get, and I'm pretty sure people figure out the modding. I don't know how old-fashioned Ninja Gaiden, the Team Ninja is with development, but if it's easy to access and easy to mod, people can actually make the games almost in the same vision as they were, and what people established with.
It shouldn't be impossible considering what they did with Dead or Alive. So
Yeah, you gotta give credit to the modding community, or just communities in general, who are very passionate about a game that hasn't seen official releases in almost, pretty much almost a decade now. I mean, half of these games never got a PS4 or PS5 release. I mean,
yep.
or hell, they even haven't. A lot of previous gen console games like Ninja Gaiden and all the games I'm talking about now never got a release, not even a PC release. And honestly, that's what I'm looking forward to with Virtual Fighter 5, is if it gets a PC release, because again, I know the fighting game online community is a little bit dead on the PC. I know you can set up lobbies and people can play, and there's ways to keep it alive. But I know everyone's always going to be like, I don't know. I just don't like. It's like, I get it. The fighting, like, there's people that can't play with just anybody. But I don't think rollback is the be all end all, like, take on fighting games. I mean, I know we're kind of devolving into this online only thing, but fighting games. I know we're kind of showing our age, but it's just something when you're playing like head to head with somebody in the same room. And I've always had more of an experience playing with somebody than online. But
Yeah.
that's why. That's
Yeah, but
why.
I've already went on and on about it before because, like I said you can have the best net play in the world, but that's not gonna say save it from like a random connection like
From Brazil.
5 continents away from you
Yeah.
or some shit.
I think people just think that it won't. Oh, it won't fix it, but it'll help. But I mean, if it doesn't do, if it's not the one be all end all solution, then what's the point?
It's just the whole conception is I don't want to talk to people, so I want to make something bad better. That way I don't have to go to physical events, which we're about to have soon, which is like finally.
Yeah. But other than that, one more. is from Sega. September of this year, Sega is releasing Sonic Colors for next gen consoles. No, again, not too much details on PC release, but again, I don't think that really matters. As Mug stated earlier before we got on, the modding communities with all that. But again, in terms of just having the game, one, a physical copy of it, and two, just Sonic Colors on next gen consoles, especially since it was held back on the Wii. It's nice to see that, and I know there's supposed to be another big project from Sega and Sonic Team, but I haven't really seen much on that. I don't really keep too much track on the newest Sonic games because you know, for me, it's always the community that kind of really dampens it, and in sense that like even if it was the best announcement in the world, I think people would just, it's again, skepticism is appropriate because, you don't want to, burn money on a game that's going to be bad. But I mean, it's I hate games. I hate game teasers as well. They're kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's just like I'm pretty sure like if we got gameplay footage now, everyone would have just probably lost interest in it. It's like, oh, it's just a Sonic Forces game. Okay, and then it's just they leave and they don't talk about the new Sonic game. It's not Sonic Mania 2. Oh, then I'm not interested. You know, everybody just got like a really like I don't know. I'm just trying to. As far I kind of steered away from mainstream Sonic titles anyway, because most of the time they're just. I always. It's just not worth it. It's not worth getting hyped or disappointed over.
Yep. Man. Shit, well, I was drawing on something. I lost all my progress. Just great. Oh.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that hasn't happened to me with FL Studio. Um, I haven't. I don't think
Yeah,
I've.
because it's like I was drawing and then it just, no. It's like, okay, let me save and come back. All the progress is gone. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that sucks. That's why I can't even like. I can imagine the struggle with certain pains of artists. What else is there?
Yeah.
No real new animes that have
Hold
caught my
on.
attention.
Hold on one moment.
Well, while we wait for Mug, yeah, no real announcements on animes. Nagatoro has been the manga I've been reading. I haven't caught up on the new chapter. And get this, I ordered Nagatoro volumes 2 and 3. Didn't come in the mail because they didn't. Volume 2 is completely out of stock everywhere, apparently. And it's, for at least for the bookstore that I went to, it's ridiculous. But other than that, it's fine and whatever. That's what I get for trying to improv. Whew. It's all right. I tried to free style something, so I was just like saying something. There's no but it's just there's not a lot of anime announcements. I don't know if there's anything new and anything. I still haven't yet to see the Demon Slayer movie, but I'm just gonna wait. I think I'm just gonna wait till that one comes out, the home theater. I mean, home DVD or whatever. Rent it.
Yeah. I did get through watching the third Evangelion movie.
The newest one?
Nah, the newest one is what is it? What was the subtitle? 3.0 plus 1.0 or something.
I don't know. I have lost track.
Yeah, I did too. But I don't know. I watched like the third movie, and there's gonna be like a fourth movie or something like that.
Oh yeah, I just remembered. The author of Berserk passed away recently.
Yeah, shit. Although, I don't know what to say on that because I never did really watch Berserk.
I read it.
Shoot.
I'm still behind on a few chapters. It's one of those series where it's really the manga experience, like, because the anime stops at a specific point and the manga continues, and it's just one of those series where when you just read it, you can the art style of the manga is really good. It's just one of those series where it's like I kind of like me. It's like Cowboy Bebop. It's like, oh, it's all right. I know people claim it is one of the greatest of all time, and I could be like, yeah, it's pretty deep. It's all right. It's good. But like with Berserk, I'm like, yeah, it's one of the greats. But like, it's just
People ruined it for me like a long time ago, so I was like,
yeah. But it's one of those series. It's one of those series where no matter what people say about it, it's just like if you really liked it, you really liked it, and like, and even if you did hate it, no matter what, you couldn't convince people that, oh, it's not as great as you think it is, and it's like, yeah, it's one of those.
but that's the thing. I'm not at that point to where I was like, no, it's
No, no,
still
I
that
know, but I
good.
mean, you don't want to like. There's no point in being that. That's like one of those opinions. Like even if you had an interesting topics, nobody would listen to you, even if you were respectable. It just wouldn't fly. It's just one of those series where it's almost sacred, and especially now since the artist and the creator passed away. But I'm still telling you, I liked it. It's one of those series where I like a lot of the stuff around it. It just has a lot of like soul to it. It's one of those that people will recommend. I've seen people recommend even if it's not their cup of tea, because it's just like, oh yeah, it's that good for me. I recommend it to people that don't even like anime. It's like, all right, yeah, that's cool. It's cool. It, it's it's just a solid series. So technically, I'm what you would consider a biased opinion on that. It's just like, yeah, it's one of the greatest. Move on, moving on. It's like there's no like, what do you want me to say about it? But other than yeah, it really is. It is just depressing, even if for somebody like even if you're outside of the circle of Berserk, that an artist of a series that never been concluded is passed away. I heard that his assistant is gonna
It just
carry.
makes me sad for his case on how they made that bad adaptation in 3D. It's like he didn't deserve
Yeah,
that.
that. But I mean, that's why you don't watch it. Like you can watch the original one anime that ends at the very infamous scene where it's like a very terrible ending, like the bad end series. But again, that's why you read it, because people who watch the old anime, that's not where Berserk ends. That's where it begins. Like it's one of those series where it's a long running series, and that part where everyone gets to where you either drop it or continue, that's the beginning. That's not even the end. And again,
Mhm.
it's just it just sucks because you can tell that a lot of it was just exhaustion and pain of just trying to get the series done. He seems like the kind of person who would lose sleep working on it, and that's what happens to a lot of these manga creators. Um, they just overwork themselves because they have to, but rather like I'm pretty. I'm not botching his name, but Miura uh, doesn't have to overwork himself to meet deadlines. He does it because he can. I mean, he seems he's not like being held hostage by the studio that runs him. I'm pretty sure he's very passionate about his content. And same thing like Hunter x Hunter's creator. It's just like I know he wants to finish it, but I know his body will not allow him to do it, and I don't think he wants to push it himself any further if it means risking fatal injuries and whatnot. So it's just and it's kind of a little too early to like crack a joke, but it's kind of funny because people like were saying like, oh, he overworked himself in this hostile industry, and it's like, no, he was just obsessing over Idolmaster while before working on the new chapters, because I think he stated that this is the Berserk's creator, by the way, that he got really invested into the Idolmasters.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, no. So the joke is that he's too busy focusing on Idolmaster. But I mean, good taste. I mean, if you really, but it's just one of those things where it really is. It's disappointing because even though he has a assistant who's probably gonna finish working on it, it's not gonna be like his true vision.
What? Yeah.
It's like when Stanley Kubrick died. It's just that no matter what ideas he had, there was a movie called AI that came out that was directed by Steven Spielberg, I think, but it was supposed to be directed by Stanley Kubrick. But they were kind of back and forth on who should direct it. But Kubrick passed away when he said he would work on it. So, and he had ideas, but it just didn't work with Spielberg's kind of vision. Spielberg was kind of like this wonderful, like whimsical journey, where Kubrick was like mysterious and dreadful, but has some positive notes to it. So I'm just saying it's gonna be sad because even if Berserk continues, it will not be exactly 100%
What it was
of his
supposed to
vision.
be.
Yes, and that's and I'm pretty sure like the manga can't. I'm pretty sure the manga he probably has some stuff written down, so it all just means the art's gonna be a lot different because this dude has been drawing since his age of 10, and it's just really impressive who this guy was. Just in terms of like even outside of Berserk, it's just he's a really impressive artist. Like a lot of the panels in the manga are just astonishing. It's just one of those series where it's just everybody knows that it's good, and just I know some people are gonna be like, oh, but like, nah, not for this one, not for this series. But yeah, no, that's my
Here's
2
the
cents
whole
on it.
hoping that whatever they make this time won't be made out of Lego bricks.
Yeah, no, but again, that was whoever ran the studio, and like who I don't know. I could see. You know what I would want to see if it does get an anime adaptation. They start from the beginning and they Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood it, where they redo it and they actually follow the manga almost bit by bit. Get Studio Mappa
Yeah,
or get Studio UFO Table. One of those. Don't care.
yeah,
Either one is really good.
yep.
But but
I
or
finally get UFO table off of Fate for a second.
yeah, I just But anyway, I think that's it. That's the major announcements for anime in terms of like actual like really like important stuff that happened, because a lot of stuff if Mug talks about it, there's because there has like right now it's just no matter where you go on social media to find, like that's the problem with finding news, is that a lot of it's just going to be surrounded around stupid controversy that's not even controversy. It's the whole mountains out of molehills, where everything has to be a problem for somebody because it's not exactly the way they interpret it, or however, like whatever somebody just has a schizophrenic breakdown and just goes crazy and just attacks anybody that disagrees with him. And it's just
It's like,
like,
guys, don't watch this show.
don't watch Nagatoro because it's abusive relationships. Even though the series is
So what happened there?
uh oh, I guess if I cut off on you, I was just saying because, like, in Nagatoro, it was like, oh, it's abusive relationship, even though in the series, as it progresses, both of them are improving. Because that's the thing about relationships. Even if it's flawed in the beginning, if they're willing to work together on it, then that's what you call. It's not necessarily like a fully healthy one, but it's a healing relationship that will lead into a healthy relationship. They're learning from each other. One's learning how to be more confident, and one's learning how to actually express what she's feeling without having to be, you know, because she does that. She doesn't know how to express her feelings. She's very expressful. She's like overly emotional and just does things. She picks on people. She picks on him because she really likes him, but she doesn't know how to express her feelings.
No, she's promoting bullying culture. It's like,
And it's just
okay, dude.
and no, but even on like everybody sucks at explaining the series. Like, oh, the webcomic, like there's videos saying, oh, the webcomic is much darker, and it's like, oh, is she like what? Is she like, oh, there are dojins of her sleeping with other guys? And it's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't
You
happen
do
in the
know that the
official
doujins
webcomics.
are fan made products that
Yeah,
have
like,
nothing to do
and the
with the
guy and the
actual
official
story.
and the official web ones are like super tame to what people explain. Like, oh, but it's mental abuse, and it's just like, yeah, it kind of is, but it's not as bad as you think. And plus, there's also a joke that like he was into Naruto, and when Hinata and Naruto got together, he actually started writing more wholeheartedly because he was happy that his ship. Again, this is all rumor and speculation. I saw this, um, but I like the idea. Like, oh, that's why the Nagatoro's anime and manga are more lighthearted than the original webcomic, is because his ship was uh canon, and now he's happier about it. So it's just like, oh, maybe I should tone down on that. It's just like, because it is true. Yes, I will admit that the webcomic is darker, but not like, oh, the character, like, it's like the character commits suicide because of her constant. It's like, no, what stupid. It's like people again. It all boils down to people making arguments, and neither of them have actually watched or read the show. Read or watched the show. Read the manga, watched the show. Blah blah blah. I'm reading the manga. I read the manga. I'm up to the current chapter. A new girl has just been introduced. And that's all I know from it there because that's where it stopped for me. It's a series of, again, I think it's better than Uzaki-chan. I think Uzaki-chan is not bad. It's just not my flavor. I don't really like. The character is just like here and there. Like Nagatoro actually, like the one thing that makes Nagatoro more better is that the actual main character, the male protagonist, actually has like struggle. Like he's not like there's something about Uzaki Chan's male protagonist that kind of just like, I'm not really interested. But Nagatoro's male protagonist, I'm like, I want this guy to succeed. And when you see him be more confident, do things, it's awesome. It's like, yes, my boy, you know. It's just, but
Yeah,
like, yes, yes, people, I'm biased on the Nagatoro manga, but that's because I actually like it. I had a choice between, like, if I had a choice to buying the new, like, I was looking for Chainsaw Man. I was gonna buy Chainsaw Man. I couldn't find Volume 1 because it was sold out, so I bought Uzaki-chan Volume 1, and I have not regretted it. And I love the series. I love the characters. All the characters, like, it's super tamed compared to like what people think it is. Like, it's not like everybody thinks that every series ends up being Goblet Slayer episode 1
that
because that's like the
was actually the case.
and it's just funny because everybody that complains, like, all the complaints, every complaint from any anime, it always revolves around two things. One, the people who start the arguments didn't even watch the anime, don't care about the anime, but
Or
yet,
don't really watch or read the source material.
yeah, no. And then the second part is if they are into
Mm.
anime, they're into the most cookie cutter, like the flavor of the month shonens, like the ones that everybody's talking about recently, and are just like into like shippings of male characters. It's always those people. Always those
Hmm.
people who have problems with it. And it's just like, oh, okay. So, like, oh, because it's funny because, like, oh, people are hating on Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like, nobody's hating on Jujutsu Kaisen. Nobody's hating on your favorite series. So, why are you hating on ours?
And then if they do hate said series, they don't have to watch
And
it.
then, but like, they forget about it. Like, because, like, oh, it didn't get the hate and controversy that I wanted.
Because I see it, and when I think about it, I was like, I I just
People,
see like a preview image of it. It's like, I'm good.
people
No,
still,
no, no, you
like,
gotta. It's like, no, I'm good,
hey,
and that was it.
remember
No, no
when,
deep thought.
remember when Kobayashi season 2, Dragon Maid season 2 got announced? I was excited. I was genuinely excited, but then a lot of people had to go
I still haven't
ruin it.
watched it yet.
It's cozy. I liked it. I watched it with my wife. Like, I don't really watch a lot of series with my wife because we all have different tastes. We do try to watch things
Hmm.
together, but that was one of the ones that we did watch, and we watched it right around like like when the weather started getting cold. Man, it's like drinking hot chocolate on a. It's perfect. Like it's cozy. But like people, again, like I didn't see the problems that people had in it. Like people really were just like, oh, it's a little weird here. It's like, so like if that's the one thing you're noticing, then maybe you shouldn't watch that kind of things. Also, you should stay away from elementary schools or any schools in general. Always the weird people. And like season 2 got announced. And remember, this is the same Kyoto Animation. Remember the one that was attacked by a dude who like people died in a fire.
Who
They
set it
finally
on fire or some stupid stuff?
they recently recovered and they finally get this season and it looks good. It looks amazing and people really want to start shit. And I call Kyoto Animation out. It's like, motherfucker, they lost people. They lost friends and family. You want to act like you're on the moral high ground? Fuck off. I hate like
Right.
don't fuck with Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Like, because that was the last series I watched from Kyoto Animation before that shit happened, and that's why I'm swearing like a sailor right now because that shit pisses me off. It like really fucking pisses me off when people bring up Kyoto Animation and Dragon Maid in a negative light. It's like shut up, like that. Like I don't like to be like I don't want to be those people. Like,
Uh,
but I'm just like you know what? Like every time I'm like, oh, maybe I have. Am I consuming too much anime? Is it ruining my lifestyle? And then I see these people act a fool, and I'm like, you know what? I'm fine. Fuck these guys. I'm good. It's like I don't care.
Yeah,
I am a simple
because you
man.
don't need to think too hard about something that was meant to be warm-hearted.
Oh, but it like don't like everybody's weird. It's like that anime. I mean that manga Komi-san can't communicate.
Hmm.
I don't know if you heard of that.
Yeah.
That one's getting an anime adaptation, and people are really weirdly defensive about that one. It's just like I guess I can sort of get it because I could see like some like I could see like the Japanese otaku act like that. We're very don't do this to my character because they're pure maidens or whatever. It's just like I guess it's
You
just like
have Dalgins. Your purity means nothing.
no, yeah, no. It's just like look, dude. It's just chances are if your favorite character has had a lot of work. Like if they were, but like they're fictional characters. They're not real. They have no moral qualms. They can't say, "Help me, I'm struggling." The artist is drawing me against my will because that's not what happens. but it's just like, and like half of the stuff is
To
tame,
them it does.
and it's just like, and again, majority of the characters are so obscure that half of the stuff we're talking about, doesn't make like everybody thinks every dojin, every like series turns into Emergence,
Hmm.
and that's for if you really know what I'm talking about. You're a sicko too.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I've seen bad, I've seen worse, and like every time it's always like, oh no, this it's so like again, it's just like the Shield Hero incident. The I think that's the only like real one that like that was the funniest one because everyone was like, what? Like, where was all this stuff you were talking about? It's
Yup.
like oh, but Goblin Slayer, oh, it's bad because the first, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to show you that this like how, because you're not supposed to root for the goblins. Are you a goblin defender? And in Goblin Slayer, yes, being a goblin defender is stupid. But like other D&D or fantasy medieval settings, yeah, it's a different, like, because they're different sources. But again, it's
Yeah,
just,
like that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That's different.
yeah, it's like nobody complains when Doomslayer's like killing demons. Like nobody thinks about the fictional demons like killing people in the background, and how many, because remember they invade Earth. What about all those crazy like sex demons that are pillaging people? Like, you don't think about that when you're killing demons on Mars. You don't think about that because you don't have to. What I'm saying is that there's a possibility, because we all know demons are like messed up creatures. They do some really nasty shit. But like in but like the worst case scenario you're gonna see is them tearing people up and ripping out their organs. That's bad, But it's okay because you're the hero. You're saving the day. You're killing them. So it's just, it's people just have a weird warped perspective on things. Like everything has to be like wholesome and nothing
Black
bad
and white
happens.
and to the extreme.
Yeah, but they're also like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a lot of, it's just always somebody, and then it turns out like those people. Remember, like if somebody really advocates for the moral superiority towards fictional characters, remember that they're probably hiding skeletons in their closet too, because people always use the Bidoof's law. I know that probably people are probably thinking like I sound like a crazy person right now because what the hell am I talking about? But I mean that's what happens when you just follow artists. Like there's stuff that shouldn't be controversy, but it is. It's just like, oh, anime fans, the anime pro, like they call them anime profile picture. Like if you have an anime character on your profile picture on Twitter, they're like, oh, argument invalid. You have an anime profile pic, you degenerate. And it turns out those people are like heavily into like crazy weird like stuff, and it's just like, oh, okay. So it's just always people that anybody who's trying to ruin your fun when you're having a good time, and these people are trying to take away your fun. Usually they're like, it's it's like when GTA, like, oh, this game causes real world violence. It's like they sound exactly like that, making the same arguments, but the only difference is that it's not some crazy old guy. It's like it's actual people working at Funimation too. Holy shit! Like every day, I'm losing more and
Hmm.
more respect from Funimation. It makes me not want to support the dubbing community and as a whole. It makes me want it to like just hurry up and shrivel up and die. It's like, oh,
Eh, I'm kind of numb to Funimation at this point.
no, I
Because
know,
it's
but
like, oh, something happened. It's like, no,
I
okay,
mean, like,
someone having a
hey,
spat again.
like the comic book
Or
industry,
did Funimation get trolled?
yeah,
One or the other.
like the comic book industry is dying, but what is happening? It What are the comic book industry people doing? Trying to improve on it? No, they're criticizing the manga and anime industry because currently, right now, as of
Oh,
now,
I heard
Demon
about
Slayer
that to
Jujutsu
where they
Kaisen is
says that. I was like,
outselling.
oh, manga looks horrible compared to comic books because look how we've brought and their drawings are silly. It's like,
And they
okay,
sexualize
if the
like
drawings are so silly, why are they successful and you're struggling?
I mean you're an official a creator you're official you work officially for Marvel and you're making this history you work for you make comics and you're making a pissy fit because your income is low and you're blaming the people who support your industry. It's like that's why comic book like that's why when the Marvel movies were coming out, that's why
Instead of just addressing the people who don't respect you.
yeah, it's like the movie industry killed the comic industry. But what did the comic industry do? They didn't adapt. They didn't try to compromise. They blamed the fans. And when the fans were like, you know what, I'm tired of this cape shit, move on. They already like I lost interest from comics like a long time ago. I don't care about any comics, and everything's always trying to make this like connected universe or retconning things that aren't important. It's like I don't. Why should I care about Lady Thor if I didn't care about Thor in the first place? Why should I care about these characters who are so awesome and like, oh, these people are so badass? And it's just like they're so boring because they have the personality of a wet carrot. Like nothing.
Well, that and it's the whole thing of Hollywood. You can tell them to do the source material all day, but there's always going to be that one guy who's like, no, here's my vision, what I want this to be.
Yeah, because it feels
And
like they're
then when
just
no one,
spiting
no one
people on
likes
the
it, it's
internet.
like, I can't believe people don't like my vision.
It's like let's spite
Like,
people
it's
on the
not fan
internet.
fiction. What you talking about? It's like, sure, it isn't.
If you don't like our version, you're not a real fan. Hey, I've been watching and reading, this comic for years, and I could say you're full of shit. If you don't like it, well then you're like, and then you got, and honestly, I really think it's just people that I don't think people really believe 100%. Like, oh, when like like when they say like, oh, they're gonna reboot the series and make it more darker, and people saying, oh, this is what we need. I think they're just doing that to like start fires, like to get people riled up. Because honestly, because every time it happens, it's always like this series that everybody eventually forgets about it, and it loses all traction. The series doesn't get a new season. None of the actors cared. It's just, and even if it does continue, it just doesn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when people were getting upset about The Watchmen, the show on HBO. Nobody's talking about that series at all. But everybody that praised it was like, oh, people are just mad, and it's just like, but people that were hating it also were just hating it because they didn't watch it. So it's just like you have two people that aren't really giving it the attention it needs. People, if you love a series, you don't put people down for not liking it, and you don't put other shows down in order to make yours look better. Because eventually, all you end up doing is isolating.
One Piece, I'm looking at you.
You just alienate your target audience, and hardcore fans are just gonna be like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need this shit. You know. And at least with manga and anime, again, with manga artists, they have a lot more liberty and freedom in terms of like making the story the way they want, with other than a few alterations during editing, which you can't even have like 100% proof if something was completely altered for the sake, unless the editor like there's some editor notes or after the series is over. So you can't really confirm anything unless the manga artist says so. But again, so even like, but that's what the real issue is that it's not that manga is so much better than comics. It's just that the comic book industry is so bad at doing their job that the manga industry is like taking over other countries' medium. Like I remember when manga was like had a little section in Barnes and Nobles, but now we can have stores like Kinokuniya where it's just exclusively like Japanese books and shit like that, and we can have like a full like 3 sections of just manga. Even though a lot of it's just Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen or Naruto, the fact that there's a lot more options than what they were not a decade ago
Years
says a
ago.
lot. I'll say a decade. A decade's fair.
Yeah. And you can actually find stuff now, sort of, instead of it being, oh, well, there's like volume 2 and volume 7. Where's all the other volumes? We don't know.
Ugh, Gintama, man, that's my biggest struggle.
Uh,
The only place that updated it
uh,
regularly was a place called Borders, which closed down because of Barnes and Nobles couldn't compete with it. But Borders was better than Barnes and Nobles. I'm making that statement. I'll die on that hill. Barnes and Nobles is all right, but holy shit, it's just. I mean, it's like Walmart of books. It's like, oh joy, like Naruto for the like 5 cases of.
it's like you go there, but you're not really. It's like you're just going there because it's there. You're not really. Oh boy, it's time to get my new issue
I
this
go to
month.
the manga section and I'm like, I can't find anything. I leave. That's me. But and then when it comes to anime, it's just like all like Netflix, HBO, all these different services. Even if they are doing comic book related stuff, a lot of it falls flat because one, the streaming service is like you have to get 15 different streaming services to keep up with all these shows, and then like the only other the only other person like company that's pumping out shows left and right is DC, because Marvel's too busy focusing on the movie side. Right now they released 2 shows, WandaVision and
I could say Castlevania was good though.
yeah, but that's not. I'm talking about Castlevania is uh, that's from a different studio, and that's more technically with video games and anime. That's kind of more of an anime than it is a Western. I mean, it is a Western studio. It's written like a Western studio franchise, but it's handled more like like. There's a lot of stuff like even if you hate the writing of the story, the animation of it's pretty solid. And it's what they work with, and in terms of video game like franchises that have shows or movies, it's one of the best. But because video game franchise movies or anime shows are usually bad, so it's it's like wow, this is award winning. Yeah, because everything else has been shit. Like like off the top of your
Yep.
head, can you name me a that's not an anime, not a Japanese animation, a video game slash TV video game TV show slash anime? I mean, Western cartoon that good? Have we seen the Duke Nukem show? Sonic the Hedgehog? Like everything that was in the 90s, but they were all just like trying to make it more slapstick rather than, you know, interesting stories. I mean,
Yeah.
Captain N could have been something, but look what they did to fucking all the characters. I mean, granted,
Excuse me.
you couldn't really go from much, but nowadays when we have so much more source material, it'd be hard to mess it up. But with Nintendo, I can tell why they'd be more hesitant on releasing series, cause stuff like that.
But you know how we do it. It's like, what is this word you say, source? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Only thing I know is my vision.
but like with DC, all their shows are uninteresting, and anything that is interesting, you know, is usually flown under the radar. Like Titans. Oh, they were hyping up Titans. Like, oh, it's like Teen Titans but edgier. Oh, Robin says fuck Batman in the trailer, and it's just like nobody talks about it. And then people come out of the woodwork. It's like I'm talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, yeah,
Because they
yeah.
only talked about it for like a little bit, and then after that 5 minutes, it
They
just
don't watch it. They
faded
don't support
away.
it. They don't talk. And when they do talk about it, it's only when people are talking shit about it. It's like, hey, remember that shitty show? Yeah, what the fuck was that? And they stop talking about it, and then somebody comes out of nowhere. Actually, the show was doing top chart rates. It's like, yeah, charts don't fucking matter. Like oh, like Netflix could say, "Oh, it was trending number one in the U.S." That doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter to anybody. It's like Netflix would not like because Netflix would you know what would kill Netflix streaming services if you actually showed like YouTube the views of how many people watched it.
Hmm.
That would kill them. Investors would be like, "What the fuck?" Because at least with YouTube, if you know some 7.2 billion people watched Despacito, but how many? Yeah, oh, this movie was number one in the West. It's like, yeah, according to who? Netflix? A Netflix original is number one trending in the U.S. But when you think about it, it's like number one trending in the U.S. in Netflix. So if you go by how many users actually own Netflix, and then you actually go by the people that actually watched it, it's a very small percentage.
Yep.
So again, it's like the Western industry doesn't understand why their franchises die, but yet then they do all this shit where, like, if you want to watch like all these new series from these different things, why do I have to have Paramount Plus to watch this show? But to watch this show, I have to get
It's
HBO
like, why can
Max,
I not just have like one subscription and call it a day? Why do I have to
and it's like
jump through
because they know
hoops
they can't
just to
put it on
watch shows and whatnot?
because streaming makes a lot more money. They make a lot more money than airing it on TV because that'd be the best
Hmm.
option. But half of these shows, they do have creative liberties. I'll give them that. They can swear, they can have guts exploding like The Boys and Invincible. And honestly, out of all the series, Invincible is the only one, other than a few minor changes, that has followed the comic for the most part by the books with a few. Again, the minor alterations, super like minuscule. But Invincible is fun because hey, they're actually showing what people want. Like Invincible is all about like the violence and the fights and the. I mean, granted, a lot of the series is very boring and talking, but when it gets to those scenes, they don't pull punches. Granted, the animation's a little cheap because all the budget went to the voice cast. But if it's season one was deemed successful and it's getting two seasons after it, so who knows? Just saying, it's not rocket science. It's like make the series the way the fans will like it, and the fans will eat it up. I mean, The Boys doesn't follow it
Uh,
exactly beat for beat.
what they call because of Invincible, I've been getting like multiple recommendations to watch, and I was like,
Dude, you can watch all the important fight scenes on YouTube, and you pretty much watch the series. Just watch all the high-rated clips, all the fights, because that's really what
I
everybody watches.
figured it'd be something like that because as much as it tries to nudge me to watch it, I was like, I have a feeling that there ain't much to what this is.
No, just like I'm shocked that Amazon is just like, yeah, have all these episodes, have all these clips on YouTube. Because like you could literally like if you didn't have Amazon, I
Yeah,
could
because
watch
we
that.
need people to watch this somehow.
But I think that's what's working too. Also, the fact that people are like, if the more like Amazon out of all people is very lenient about Invincible, and in a way that kind of gets me to be like, you know what, Amazon, all right, that's cool. Like my mom already has Prime, so I borrow her Prime. But it's just like so that's how I was able to watch it. But like think about it, I could have just watched it on YouTube. Again, not the whole series, but again, all the little bits and pieces are not important. That's the one downside about Invincible. It's a lot of talking and it's a lot boring because it's not important. They do explain exposition, but it's you could miss it. You could do laundry, and when you get to the fight scene, it's like you didn't miss anything because nothing important came up for that fight. You can kind of you could come back to a fight scene and miss all the exposition and be like, "Who's this? Who's that?" It's like, okay, that's the bad guy. Those are the good guys. All right, that's fine. But yeah, no, it's just like now. Granted, TV shows that aren't based on comics and stuff like that are successful and still getting seasons and stuff. But like comic books, we're not gonna see like the Punisher series because Disney's not gonna let that happen. I think Disney's gonna. Well, it might actually. It might be on Hulu or something, but it'll be very
This is gonna
rare.
what?
Huh?
I said this is gonna what?
Disney's not gonna let Punisher like like TVMA series go like come out. Like, and that's my biggest fear is that Blade's gonna be PG-13. I need it to be R. That's the only thing keeping me like. That's it. If it's not, I don't care if it's bad. I will actually watch it if it's R because at least okay, Disney. You know what? You got my attention. PG-13. Nothing fucking happens in PG-13. I hate Disney's PG-13. Nothing happens in a Disney PG-13 movie. Now,
I might have that small flare moment in this, like, oh, did you see what we did?
like the funniest moment is in Black Panther when the bad guy Killmonger grabs one of the lady guards and slits her throat and no blood comes out. I'm like, this is stupid. That was stupid. Again, didn't ruin the entire movie, but it's just like that's what we're gonna see in Blade. We're not gonna see blood, which is funny because that's what vampires have. We're gonna see blood in bags. We're gonna see blood like not come out of people, but that's what we want to see. That's why the original Blade is fucking awesome. Like
Yeah,
I rewatched a lot of the X-Men movies that came out during Fox, and you know what? I used to give these a lot of these movies bad reps. Like I used to be like, oh, Fox doesn't know what they're doing with their movies. But you know what? The X-Men series actually is pretty good. Like shit happens in it. When Wolverine cuts people, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is PG-13. He just like blood came out of that guy. It didn't spray out like a Kurosawa film, but like Wolverine killing people and like blood coming out. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. Even in that one, oh, there's that movie that just came, like one of the not the recent one, but the X-Men Apocalypse. This was when Disney had the rights to well, Disney didn't buy the rights to the Fox characters yet, so they didn't have Deadpool or X-Men. But holy shit, like the beginning of X-Men Apocalypse is violent. Like this one dude like Sonic booms like two people and they're like skeleton and their fucking like backs get filleted in the on the wall. They like so you see their like bones and shit on the wall. Like people go and they like people got fucked up in these movies. And they're PG-13. That's what I'm saying. Like Disney PG-13 doesn't do shit. Nothing happens in a like oh the Avengers like Thanos gets his head cut off. Yeah, but that's like near the end. That took 10 years. Oh, so 10 years for like violence to happen in a Disney movie.
10 years of bill. I feel I'm thinking back to how they had the meme where 10 years later.
Dad.
Uh,
um. So yeah, that's my like. I know it's like it's more of a rant, but like I mean, I'm telling you, as somebody who likes comic books, I'm not surprised that the comic book industry is fucking dying, and I could care less, because everybody that works in the comic book industry is a fucking douchebag that doesn't know why their series is falling. And anytime people tell them, they're like, "No, you're an idiot. Shut up, shut up, shut up." And it's like, "All right, fine, fuck you. I'm going to watch some anime." It's like, yeah, I'm watching anime. Like,
Did you
hell,
say the word criticism?
no, I didn't say that, but I guess if that's what you want to call it. Hey, like, but it's like that's the thing. To them, they see somebody call it like your series fucking sucks, and they think that's what criticism is. It's like no, you stupid idiots. And I know that's kind of not helping, but I mean like, don't be stupid. But when somebody says, you know, this series would have worked a lot better if the characters were a lot fleshed out, we got more time to. It's like, but that nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. Like no matter what you do, all the positive feedback you can get, all the negative, all the ones that are like, oh, I like the series, but this could have been better. All that gets outshined by, you know what? This show blows. Suck my dick, Marvel. You suck. You can't write for shit. Brie Larson can't
Uh,
act for shit. Kevin Smith is a hack who cries at everything. But just and it's just like ignore those people because
it's like you don't want to enjoy what you're watching.
well, no, for me, it's like I wish I try. Like everything I've hated, I watched and I tried to get into it. I can't fucking do it. I didn't like I was hyped for Black Panther, didn't like it as much as I wanted to. I watched Captain Marvel because everybody else was watching it, and I was just like, this movie's kind of bad. And just there's some actresses that I just can't stand.
Eventually, I just got burnt out on the Marvel films altogether.
Well, I mean that's what happened to everybody. Because I mean we had 10
And
years
once
of
I
it.
had that burnout, it was whatever.
It was 10 years of it, and then all of a sudden they were ready wave 2, and it was like, oh come on, like let our food go down. That's like the people that are just like, you just ate at IHOP, and they're like, come on, we're gonna go hiking. Like we just ate, man. Like let us cleanse our palate. Give us some like movies, and then ironically they did kind of give us a breather, but Corona happened. Black Widow got delayed. It was just so weird. Like everything that happened, it threw it off, and it kind of worked. I'm kind of glad it threw Marvel's game off. That way, and in a way, it kind of works for them because now people be like, I want to see it in theaters because at least I can get out of my house.
Yep.
But like, I don't know. For me, the only people that are doing good who don't need, like James Gunn. I remember when that James Gunn controversy happened, but like James Gunn and his team and the actors stuck to their guns, pun intended. And guess what? He's still working on Guardians Volume 3. He's working on the new Suicide Squad, which looks a lot more fun than the other one. And it's actually going for an R rating. And you know what? Good or bad, at least, you know what? Like, for again, let directors who have visions like that do their work. Don't try to step in. Because honestly, like Guardians of the Galaxy volume, like those two volumes 1 and 2 from James Gunn are one of the only few Marvel movies that I can watch again and again because they feel more grounded. They feel like the characters are a lot more fleshed out. People get killed in that series and it's fun. Like Yondu fucking killing all those guys in volume 2 is just amazing. It's great, and I'm not saying like, oh, violence, but like, if nothing happens in these like series, I'm tired of just everybody just fighting a one dude. Like, I want to see these guys like fucking take down like dudes, but you know, it's just like, but Iron Man 3
Instead of just talking for hours on end.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 is. Honestly, for me, controversial opinion. Iron Man 3 is, to me, the best Marvel movie out of the entire franchise.
Well, there go the comment section. Just
Why? Because it does these things. One, it's fun, it's quippy, it's adventurous. Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is just like, you know, his acting is just fun. The character's acting, it's fun. I laughed at scenes. I was like, yeah. I was like a kid, and I didn't watch this movie because I heard it was bad, and it turns out it's one of the best. It's just some really cool scenes. Tony Stark actually saving people. Remember when superheroes saved people? Oh my gosh. Now, not, you know, and it's just funny because it's just, you know, I get that not every. Like, Batman has a no-kill code. Not a lot of heroes have the same morals as Batman. Now, granted, they do counter that, like, oh, like
you know,
Superman.
he says he has no kill code, but how many people died?
I know, like, they tackle that, but again, that's stupid because it's just like, it's the comic books. You don't need to care about the robber who tried to steal from who almost killed an old lady for her damn purse. Like, Batman breaking his arm and, he died because he couldn't operate machinery right with his hand, and he fucking fell down the stairs and broke his neck. That's Batman's fault. It's like, like, oh shit, then I guess if Batman breathes, he fucking kills those immune compromised kids down the street 5 weeks later. Like, shit, it's not important, and making it a story is just as stupid. Like, I get it. Like,
Nah, I
no,
just made making jokes on the file on the ground said
no, I know.
superheroes never do anything evil. I was like, okay.
Like, I get it. Like, there are some, like, because the thing is, a good written Batman has the talks about, like, yes, I've thought about it, but I don't. He sticks to his guns. Everybody around Batman is supposed to be the one where it's like, why don't you fucking kill Batman? Look what they did. And it's just like, it doesn't matter. Batman can be hated by the world. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if you think
At the
he's
time
wrong.
he did kill, we had a good story out of it.
I know, but what I'm
But then
saying,
they said, "Oh, he's everywhere. Stop." It's like stop putting him in all these scare stories. I'm tired of him. It's like, well, you wanted him to be that way,
yeah.
and you got your wish.
But like, that's it. That's every DC. That's every DC movie now. It's just like, oh, what if Superman killed? What if Batman killed? It's like, this isn't fun. Talk about a new story. Like, maybe introduce, like, maybe make, like, give me Shazam too. Damn, Shazam. Like, I've watched Shazam more than the entirety I've watched. The amount of times I've watched Shazam has equated to more than the times I watched uh Justice League and Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad all together. So put all those movies together. The amount of times I watch the amount of hours runtime of those three movies are less than the amount of times I watched Shazam. And Shazam's considered a like,
That's
oh,
saying something.
that's a baby movie. It's like, it's better than the shit that's been coming out. Like, oh, Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Like, I don't give a shit. It's still not as good as Shazam. Brie Larson was such a boring
And when people
character.
say that, it's a thing of it don't matter what Marvel do, someone's gonna go. It's like the old Resident Evil movies that a bunch of people didn't like. It's like they didn't care that it wasn't what Resident Evil was. It's just Resident Evil zombies. I'm gonna see, and it's the same with Marvel superhero movie. I go see.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I watched the Resident Evil movies because I never, like, one, I was too scared to play the games, but when I got older, I was like, oh, okay, I played Resident Evil 4 and all that, you know. And I was just like, you kind of, like, a lot of people, when we watched the movies, we kind of knew there's something in your head that told you this isn't exactly like the games, but hey, zombies and killing, like, I mean, that's all you really had. You didn't before. You had all this, like, cool entertainment, all these the cool Resident Evil games, or, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you had this is all you had. And honestly, I don't like I Resident Evil Apocalypse. That's the second movie. At least that one, you know, Nemesis. The Nemesis costume looked good. Again, the stupid self insert is dumb, but I felt like that one at least tried. Because they're not good movies. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't have a like nowadays. Like, you can have a drinking game and watch it and have a, you know, have a laugh fit with your friends when the stupid slow mo scenes in the other movies, like characters that you don't care about because they're just characters, not even from the game. But again, would you want to see the characters, like the real good characters, get ruined in a movie? But I mean, like I still don't. I'm not gonna watch the Monster Hunter movie because other reasons, not even because the movie's good or bad, but like still, like it's one of those things where, like, it
Oh,
doesn't
that's gonna be a bonfire, and I'm gonna love it for
like
the wrong reasons.
oh, you hate DC because you like Marvel movies. It's like, no, Iron Man 3 is just my favorite movie of Marvel. Oh, you hate Marvel movies because you like DC. No, it's just like, I like stuff like Shazam. I like stuff where characters are doing fun stuff. I like the Justice League animated series that has yet to be topped. Like, I like the original Teen
Yeah,
Titans. I don't care about Go, but at the same time, I don't really try to go out of my way to make everyone think that Go is a piece of shit anymore because it's just one of those series. But again, like stuff like Go, Teen Titans Go, I don't care if it's not that bad of a show, but what happens is that you let people that don't really care about franchises work on these franchises, and then they say, oh, when people are mad, the new retaliation, the thing that the people do is just like, oh, so what if they're mad? They're just whiny fanboys. We don't need their opinion because our show makes money. It's successful. It's like that's not really the high ground you want to take. It almost sounds like you're. It's kind of funny how people are like, we're not like these other companies that don't care about their products. Like, no, yeah, no, you're doing, no, yeah, no, not listening to feedback of the fans, doing shit that doesn't make sense, like the Powerpuff Girls reboot on the CW, trying to make it more adult like.
Ooh. that. Oh man, that was. Well, where do I even start
Did you
on
read the
that one?
script of
Because
that?
it was like, mm,
Did you read any of the script of that?
someone quoted it to me for about a minute. I was like, stop, stop, you're killing me.
It's that bad, yeah. I read the whole fucking thing. And like I think they're
Like
like going.
politics, all this other stuff. I was
Dude, it's
like,
not even
I
no,
don't
not
remember
even
this in my
politics.
Powerpuff Girls.
It was stupid. Like the one thing that made me mad was like oh, they try to make it seem like oh, like the professor's like oh, marketing us using like it's supposed to be like a taste on consumerism, like oh, like that crappy cartoon that whitewashed us cuz Buttercup is uh I don't know what ethnicity is she. I don't know if she was black or like uh but either way it's just like oh, whitewashing us, and it's just like what the fuck are you talking? Like, what is this script? And it's just like, and then like, Bob Blossom has PTSD, like, and has panic attacks. And then it's just like, I think that script, because it got taken down from Twitter, apparently, somebody said that because it got taken down from Twitter, this was real. It wouldn't have gotten taken down if it was fake and leaked. Because usually when leaked scripts get leaked, they usually get taken down because of that. But then I think the studio, I think they're gonna two things are gonna happen. I think they're gonna release a pilot that's gonna be completely different from it, and it's just not gonna get a series. It wasn't never gonna get a series, but I think they wanted I think they thought that maybe if people they get the right people to
Maybe
work,
it would work.
yeah. But no, you just
But it's like, no, that is so removed from what that show was. It ain't even funny.
but CW
And
like
it's like I know people want to take creative liberties. That can rarely work, but this ain't the case, man.
but like the
It's like I just
CW
do not know.
the CW is stupid because all their shows on it are literally just gets you to watch it even if you hated it. Like, oh, look at this stupid scene, and then you go watch it, and it's like, wow, this show sucks. It's like stop hate watching things because all that does they don't care if people are watching it if they hate it. They are caring if you tune in. But that's the thing about streaming too. Is like that's what's funny. Streaming is killing like cable TV, so it doesn't matter if a TV show is like getting high reviews because it could get killed by streaming. And then what
That makes
happens?
me happy. So they can't do that whole oh. It's like you have to watch it on television. Nope, I do not. I just
Yeah,
watch it on the stream. Call it a day.
there's just too much shows. There's too much superhero shows that aren't interesting. It's like I don't care about this. I don't care about that. And it's just like DC's not gonna make any movie anytime soon. I mean they are doing Suicide Squad, but unlike it's just nothing else. And every time they do something, it's just I wait.
It's
Venom's
either hit or miss.
yeah, and Sony is the only one who because they have Spider-Man still, who with Into the Spider-Verse is the only thing I have faith in into in the sequel. I know there's a Venom sequel coming out as well, but I'm hesitant on that because if we get another PG-13 fiasco, then what's the point? Like these movies, like hopefully they learn like that's what I was hoping that maybe they learned that making these movies are because that's what that's why I like Deadpool, like the Deadpool franchise.
Yeah, Deadpool was good.
I mean, they try to do this thing for charity, and I think they were also trying to do it to test the waters, maybe, with Once Upon a Deadpool, where it was a Christmas version, but it's also a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2, and they're trying to make Deadpool PG-13. That's what I just think like Disney's
It's
like we
like,
want
no, just make Deadpool Deadpool. It's like nothing different.
let Fox let Fox the assets you bought from Fox all the studios that worked on it do what they were doing when they were under Fox. Don't take control. Don't try to PG-13 up these movies. And if they are going to be PG-13, let them be Fox PG-13. Because holy shit, does Disney not know what they're doing? Every movie is so
Yeah, sometimes they
boring.
just want stuff for the brand names. Like, go to all right. Just like not everyone goes to Disneyland.
Like Captain Falcon, I mean Captain Falcon. Uh Captain America and the Winter Soldier is not the best movie, but like it's like it was so weird watching it after like the newer movies cuz it's like holy shit like Samuel Jackson just shot up a car full of Hydra agents. It's like people get fucked in these movies, but then you watch the newer ones and it's just like people get incapacitated, which it's just like it's just like T'Challa's in Winter Soldier, Civil War, like Black Panther's father was killed in a bombing incident. If he was that, he wanted to kill uh, Winter Soldier, but it didn't feel like it. Like he should have fucking like it should have like I don't know. I know I'm expecting too much, but yeah, it's just
No, you're right. Because if it was fully left to Disney 100%, there would be no action. It would just
it's just
be
well
folk
no,
songs
it's action, but it's
left and
like
right.
but it's comedy. It ends up being comedy. Like, it's like, wait, like Ant Man was like that, but I think Ant Man was already kind of goofy from the get go. But the sequel was even goofier. It was just, but it's just like,
I mean, it's one thing if it has like serious undertones while being goofy. That could be done, but yeah, I wouldn't want
you
a
know,
franchise just to be 100% goofy when the series is not known for being goofy.
I think out of like the and Infinity War and Endgame, Infinity War was miles better than Endgame because Endgame,
Yeah,
because Infinity War even it opened up dark. It's like oh shit, they killed Loki, like they actually they kill like they don't show it granted, but it's implied that he killed half of the Asgardians and that were on that ship. Um, what's his name? Uh, though that scene and in Wakanda when Thanos' army, those like faceless aliens that are like killing themselves to open the force field. That part's intense. That's great. Uh, like shit happens in that movie. And I'm not saying movies need to
yeah.
be dark, but like we need to have like there's tension in it because we don't know what's gonna happen. And it ended in one of the most shocking. I mean, it's like I know some people are like, "Oh, wasn't that?" But like, yeah, hey, the villain won in this one. It's great.
But you know how some diehard purists is. I'll have you know that on page 72, this happened and this happened. It's like that's
In
nice,
no
but I'm not you, so.
In comic books, you can't really do beat for beat the original story because then you'd have like Invincible, you'd have a very boring franchise that goes on, and all the fights that you want to watch are going to take forever. And then by the time you get to them, half of the audience dropped off because they were tired of the boring shit in the middle. Not every comic need like for me it's like this. Not every not every comic book movie that comes out needs to be their origin story. Now some do feel
For the
like,
thousandth time.
especially like, and some don't feel like origin stories, but they are. Like I still give Deadpool 1 a pass on that. I give Spider Verse a pass on that. I give props to Black Panther. That one wasn't an origin story. Like that was actually, hey, I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, whoa, what is this? A Marvel movie that's not an origin story? Like he has his powers. It takes place after the Civil War incident. Like after, I think a little bit before Infinity War, but you know. So like, hey, props for Black Panther for not being an origin story. But that's the only one off the top of my head that I can think of that's not an origin story. I know the X Men Apocalypse and X Men Days of Future Past, but technically X Men First Class was the origin story, but not really. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But that's Fox. I'm just
Yeah, careful. We might get an origin story about Black Panther next.
well, no, I don't think so because I mean the dude just died this last year, so let him, you know. And who would they even I don't know. I could see them recasting him if they had plans for him, but I just don't like. I think it's a little. I think it'd be a little too inappropriate to just suddenly replace him all of a sudden immediately.
Now
Hey,
we gotta wait time and then do it.
hell, just get Michael B. Jordan. I mean, everybody loved him as Killmonger. Just make him like. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying in the future when it's like it's no longer because he died last year. It's still considered a little bit fresh. Like maybe 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, and let people like make the movie. I don't care if it's the origin story, but at least it'll be like, oh, it's like, you know, weren't you Killmonger? And I was like, haha, it's a different timeline. Haha, they can do that, right? Remember, they established different timelines in Endgame, so
It's like alternate
yeah.
universes.
Oh, look, I already got it. Check it. To be a send off to Chadwick Boseman, uh, in the universe, Killmonger um, sees the error of his ways, and a year goes by, and he's like, it's funny, he's at his grave, and he's just like, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah, like exposition, and he's the new Black Panther. There you go. Saved it. Saved the franchise. Marvel, pay me. I can see it. I'm telling you that they'd be stupid not to do that.
Yep. But then again, it's Hollywood,
Yeah,
so
they could
there's
just. I
always a
mean,
chance that
who
someone
knows?
could just get the wrong idea.
They might cast somebody else, but I mean, because we like, I don't think they're gonna let the Black Panther die. But I just don't see them using. I don't know. Anything could just be too early.
Yep.
Don't replace him yet. Whew, man, this has just been a big comic book rant. But I mean,
I hear you.
that's all it is.
Nah, just for anyone who's like, oh, y'all only talk about anime, y'all weebs. Like, no, we like, we like both.
It's just really hard to talk about comics in a positive light because usually shit like this happens because it's always like, and I
I
can't
mean, the
tell like
last good comic I read was like Dark Knight's Metal, and that was it.
it's just like comics just don't like they all like every comic that comes out. Two things. One, it's boring. Two, it really doesn't have confidence in itself, so it starts attacking the fans that are gonna they think that are gonna hate it. It's like, oh, girl, you're just a misogynistic man who doesn't like female Thor. It's like, what the fuck is this? Can I just have a fucking comic where a character beats a bad guy without it having to be some like social commentary on the fans' take on the series? I don't care. It's like I don't care if your series is political. I don't care if there's like it talks about current world politics. I don't give a shit about that. What I do have a problem is that when it's like, oh, let me be the author's let me be the comic book writer's avatar for a second and channel the thoughts of the comic book creator and act like what they would think this character would side with me if they were real because I'm the writer and I can write stupid shit and get away with it because the hero of the series loves me and agrees with me too. And that's fucking horseshit. You know I'm right. You know there are comics where every time it's like they always have the writer has to make the character their soapbox to say some stupid shit. Not even political, just stupid shit that's always attacking like hardcore fans that love the franchise and don't want to see it go in the gutter because the franchise is this industry is dying. And they're like the last sliver of hope. They're your bank, they're your payroll, and you're throwing them out of the curb because you don't want their opinions. You want the opinions of people that aren't gonna buy your shit because they're the right people. It's like, oh, Star Wars was always about this shit, and it's like, shut up, shut up. There are some really shitty old school fans, but shut up. Stop trying to be like Star Wars is not yours anymore. It's ours. It's like, what the it's like imagine like being kids on the playground playing with your Star Wars figures and somebody comes up to you, grabs your toys like it's ours. Like you'd punch the shit out of them. Don't take give me my fucking Darth Maul. Go play with your Jar Jar Binks because your mom hates you. Get the fuck out of here. I'd take Jar Jar Binks over your fucking character. What the shit is that? But yeah, it's
Yeah, although people say, "Oh, well, they're redoing Star Wars." I was like, how long until some random person just comes up and just says, "Oh, everything that was established, nope, throw that out." My vision. Can
but
you
here's the thing.
believe they did that?
Here's the thing about Star Wars, though. The problem with Star Wars was the trilogy did not have a plan. They thought, oh, what if we get different directors and they do their interpretation of it and go from there? And it's like, that is the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. And The Last Jedi is
But they ran with it anyway.
Because it's like, oh, you're wrong. People love The Last Jedi. Oh, really? Well, then why did the studio panic and fucking make Rise of the Skywalker like the way it is? Oh, J.J. Abrams a hack. It's like, well, he's kind of a competent hack because the Star Trek films are pretty good, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens, I had a pretty good time with it. But The Last Jedi was like, you know what? Let's take all the cool things about Star Wars and let's throw it down the shitter because I want people to enjoy Star Wars the way they're not supposed to. And it's like, that is so stupid. I hate this movie. Well,
let's bring back the person who's been dead for millennia because fans. It's like, okay.
No. You see, that's the thing. That's what they're saying. But no, this is what happened. Let's bring back Palpatine because The Last Jedi killed the antagonist. Because it was supposed to be a twist. Ooh. Well, great. Now we don't have a final villain for the final act. Ryan, what the fuck are we going to do? Well, that's the third director's problem. It's like, no, it's not. We're getting fucking JJ.
Not mine.
We're getting J.J. Abrams because maybe he can salvage this. And it's just like, I don't
it's like
care.
maybe we'll get an Abrams cut.
But that's the thing. It's like the trilogy could have been fine if I don't care if Rian Johnson helped write the story. He shouldn't have directed it. But like it should have been like J.J. Abrams is the main director of the trilogy. It could have he could have guest writers. That's fine. J.J. Abrams doesn't need to like. But the thing is here's the thing about the first movie too. The writer, the additional writer of that movie was the one for Empire, or the A New Hope, the original writer for the original trilogy. So that's why it's a soft reboot. So it covers beats from the original trilogy to get people to remember what it was like to watch Star Wars. So for people saying, "Oh, it's just the same thing," it's like, yes, because it's been years. It's a refresher. It's supposed to help you. It's supposed to be for like like uh like icy hot. It's supposed to soothe the pain from the prequels that y'all hate so much. But it's just like
Yep.
nobody's happy. If it was a complete reboot,
But
everyone would
now
have
it's
been
the
mad.
whole thing of, well, the prequels weren't that bad. It's like, make up your mind. Did you hate it or did you love it?
Well, that's the problem. It's just that people hated the prequels because it was fun to hate the prequels, but because the newest trilogy ended on such a like a fart that everyone's like, wow, the pre, because at least the prequels was consistent. Yes, it retconned a lot of the old stuff, but they're actually isolated from the isolated as its own thing. It stuck to its guns. George Lucas had a vision. As much as that vision is hated, it still was more consistent than the entire new trilogy. And if they were confident in Rian Johnson, they would have gotten the third director that was going to direct the third movie and write it, however they're going to do it, and go from there. But they really knew that, oh, fuck, Ryan, you killed off the main protagonist. You, like, destroyed. Because even Mark Hamill hated the idea that Luke did not like, rejected the Force. Yes, he could have lost straight from his path, but just it was like really stupid, and that's why the Rise of Skywalker was stupid, because it was like, hey, that's not stupid. This was stupid. That movie was stupid. This one, this actually is supposed to be good. But they didn't know what they were doing. Like the side films are better. Like Rogue One is actually I like Rogue One. A lot of people hated Rogue One, but at least that one had scale. That one had a vision. It had, it was a little darker, but the
Sir, are you telling me you prefer continuity instead of entertainment? I cannot believe
I don't know what I enjoy. I just want to have a good time. But Garth Edwards, I don't remember his name, but the director of 2014 Godzilla, isn't that was another thing. It's just like I watched Godzilla versus Kong, and I'm like, you go back to Godzilla 2014, a lot of people that hated it. At least at that one, you had scale. You never really see Godzilla because you were always seeing from perspective of down low, because we're supposed to get the scale of how huge Godzilla was. Here they're just towering. In Kong versus Godzilla, they're towering things like, oh, doesn't matter people getting crushed from above, whatever. It's like, oh, we're just, because the main thing is monkey fight lizard, which is not bad. I'm just saying, like, at least in Godzilla 2014, there was a vision. There was something there. It's just like, it wasn't about, like, oh, what's the point of giant monsters fighting? It's not all about that. Shin Godzilla, which was like one of the highest rating Godzilla movies in Japan, had little fight Godzilla interaction. It was mostly people talking in offices on how to deal with Godzilla. Because a lot of people forget that Godzilla was also just that too. Godzilla's a hybrid. It's all kinds of mix mash of 1 minute it's monster fighting kaiju, like monster fighting like extravaganza. The next minute it's a serious series about human characters in a situation where Godzilla is an antagonist and a force of nature. People don't know what
you.
they want. Nobody knows what they want, but the thing is that you gotta have a little bit of confidence in the series and have respect for the fans and understand that not every fan is gonna like it, but the ones who do, who love the series, are the ones you're trying to go for. and that's why the Last Jedi failed. Because it's like, no, the fans don't know what they want. It's like, fuck off. If Empire came out today, it would have been roasted. It's like, fuck off, Ryan. Fuck off. It wasn't hated back then. Like, I really like just hearing him in interviews about with the Last Jedi and just seeing the movie. It's just I don't like what he did to the franchise. Like, we had something with the first movie in Rogue One. We had something. It wasn't perfect,
we
but
can't have continuity.
not even continuity. I just like the spin-off movies. I don't care what they did in them. They could have done whatever. That's fine, because that's the beauty of Star Wars, is that it's such an expanded universe. Something happening in one side of the universe won't affect the main story, and that's okay. Could have had more, like, that's why The Mandalorian was successful, because it had little to do with the main story. I mean, in the second season, they started ham-fisting it, but, The Mandalorian was its own little
Because it's
thing.
like, oh yeah, we're Star Wars.
But, he had a vision. Jon Favreau had a vision with this series. But, like, again, the new trilogy didn't have a plan. They didn't have a vision. They didn't have, what were we going to do with these characters? I don't care if, and like, I don't even hate Rey. Like, people are like, oh, like, people hate Rey because there's a Mary Sue. It's like, stop thinking, oh my God. Are those the only fans you listen to? Like, this actress, was harassed by fans because she was, it's like, yeah, well, stop giving it attention. It's just like, yeah, it fucking sucks, but like, is that what we're getting? It's like, oh, the movie, we can't criticize the movie now because, actresses or actors are getting harassed by crazy fans. And it's just like, for me, it's just like, no, I'm just going to shit on the director. Because it says like, oh, well, Ryan didn't write it. Yes, he did. He written and directed it. They gave him... The movie went nowhere. They had to have all these scenes. The casino scene was the worst scene in the entire movie. It was so boring. Nothing happened. And that's another thing. Nothing happened in the movie either. It was just a lot of people like bitching and moaning. 1 minute they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then it's like, oh, turns out I'm not going to do this. That whole people talking about subverting expectations. It got blown out of the water because of that movie. Like, J.J. Abrams couldn't save it. Like, even, I respect a lot of his work and stuff. Like, in terms of, like, he's not a great writer, he's a great director. But that's what happened. They didn't have a plan. Like, J.J. Abrams is going to give what he thinks fans want. And that's, like, fan service. He's, like, J.J. Abrams is a fan servicey kind of guy. In a good way. Good and bad, kind of. Because, like, in the Star Trek movies, it's like characters, oh, they said that famous quote, even though it's not necessary. But it's because, hey, those characters did that thing in the old series. He's like, he's kind of like the remember this kind of thing. But, but those Star Trek films were fun because they weren't trying to erase the original, and they had Leonard Nimoy as the passing the baton to the new generation in the movie, but he wasn't like the main focus. He wasn't part of the main plot. He was just there to be like, hey, the new franchise, support it. It's like, all right, cool. You don't need the old cast in the movie to continue to make the franchise good. Like Han Solo dying in The Force Awakens is kind of appropriate. It's okay because, the new generation. It's just, but like, it went nowhere. Like, they didn't know what they were doing, and I really didn't want to hate The Last Jedi. I didn't want to, but I hate it because it's a bad movie. And it cemented this whole, like, cesspool of shit that surrounds that new Star Wars trilogy. I mean, think about it. How bad do you have to fuck up to where people actually think the prequels are better?
Yeah. And I actually finally caught back to what I lost in clips of it, yo. Which that pretty much sums up how long we've been going for, right?
Yeah. It's almost about. I thought we were gonna do an hour, but like again, that's me. That's me. Like I can rant about this stuff because I mean I like this stuff. I grew up with Star
Oh
Wars.
no, this is gold because this is one of the rare times I don't have anything to go off the rails about.
Like I just I have like I am late to the party in a lot of franchises. You know, I just finished watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy today. I mean, not today, but a few days ago.
Yeah,
I had a blast. I don't know why. I did. I think because I understand why people like it. That like, oh man, it's just like imagine like be like having a D&D party in the world of like the Middle Earth or just like wow, this is just fun. Like I can imagine. Like I used to hate fantasy settings, but now I like medieval fantasy settings. I mean, I was a Star Wars kid. That's why I liked futuristic stuff and like cyberpunky like stuff, sci-fi, but it's just like taking a break from it. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Movies that I thought were bad when I was younger, I end up liking a lot because they just have a lot. Like, wow, this is fun. Like, this is stupid, but it's fun. Like that's why the X Men series. I never really cared for the X Men, but holy shit, these movies were fun. Except the Last Stand.
yeah,
But Apocalypse is fun. I mean, there's a I don't really care for Psylocke because it's like she didn't do shit in the movie. But that again, the guy I think Michael Fassbender is his name. The guy who played Magneto and forgot his name. Colin no. Oh, the guy who plays Charles Xavier. I'll remember his name. But oh, James McAvoy. Them two. Those guys are just like they're just really good actors. Uh and it's like, man, I want to watch Logan again because that was another fun movie.
yeah.
It's
Well,
just
so what's the moral of today's episode?
uh, don't don't join fandoms. Don't enjoy things. It's all gonna get ruined, and you're gonna be those bitter old fans that everyone complains about. And then it happened. Like I starting to understand why. Like I used to be like, oh, it's not that bad, but you know what? I'm starting to be those fans of like I now understand why fans hate this shit because it's just so tiresome at the end of it.
Yeah,
And
you try
chances
to give stuff a chance, and then someone just says, "Mm,"
like I
like
so
it's what I wanted to be. Oh my God, why you don't like how I wanted to be? Because everyone else doesn't like how you wanted to be.
no, you know what? There's a
It's like I'm not asking you for a 100% repeat of what we saw. We just want something good.
actually a 4chan quote actually is appropriate. Why do you get angry when people enjoy things you like? Don't you want more people to enjoy the series or like franchise? It's like no, because they enjoy it the wrong way. It's like that's how I feel with
Yeah.
people that are writers for these series. It's like I don't think they know what made these series fun, but they can't work on their own series, so they try to make it their own artistic vision, and all it does is to make fans of it mad. And they try to double down because they think, oh, you know, if we stick to our guns, the true fans will stay. Those were the true fans. Oh shit, who are these people? People that are gonna talk about it on Twitter like once and never watch the show, never not buy the products, don't go to the meet and greet signing events at Comic Con. Oh fuck. And then it's like, but they can't admit that they're wrong. But anyway, we're wrapping up.
Yep.
So just just a bitter 26-year-old who's gonna be a bitter 40-year-old when his favorite franchises get rebooted and the cycle continues.
Yep.
But at least I'll be able to play Virtual
Super.
Fighter 5.
I need to get Yakuza on Steam. It's like I don't care about the story. I just want to play up to the point so I can put in the Virtual Fighter 5 mod in. That way, when it comes out, and I know someone's going to be all like, "You don't know how to play this game." No, no, I do.
Yeah, that's the best
I
way
know
to.
how to play this game.
Yeah, it's Anyway, no, but yeah, but play Yakuza. It's actually a pretty good one. I know a lot of people actually played seven. I still haven't played seven, but I played almost every single franchise in the game except 3 and 4. But I know what happens in the story because I. But I played 5. I loved 5. I loved
I don't know anything about the series. I'm just getting it so I can play Virtual Fighter 5 on the PC. That's it.
well, it's one of those series where I do have the entire collection on the PS4. So if you ever want to try it out, like legitimately, I even have Dead Souls.
Hmm.
But anyway, that about wraps it up for today. I know this is more of a ranty episode, but I'm gonna tell you, that's just how I am. I love franchises, and you either sides. I either don't say anything about the franchise, and I'm just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then if you really want to know, if you really want to know what I think about these franchises, then whop, I just like have a whole like stupid thing. I even have arguments for the fucking original Thundercats and the 2011 series, but that's a whole other bad can of worms for another time.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, people like Ryan Johnson should stay away from Star Wars. People should just stay away from Star Wars. Uh, go hit the gym. Uh, watch.
You say that, but like the Sith Lord, he will return one day.
Yeah, he might. He might. But I mean, at that point, I will not. Nobody will care either. He'll be like an executive producer, and he's already working on his own franchise anyway. Knives Out. So good for him. Just don't touch Star Wars ever again. I'm pretty sure he's glad to be off of Star Wars too. I'm pretty sure all the hate from fans probably got to him. But anyway, yeah. Don't fall in love with franchises. It'll only hurt you in the end when you get older.
Yep.
I mean, I'm joking. I'm just. It's a joke, people. Anyway, as usual, I'm your host, Ed Tama23,
I'm a mug.
and we'll see you around next time. Hopefully in June. All right. Take care, everybody.